Thank you for joining us this afternoon. At approximately 1:15 p.m. this afternoon, a uniformed police officer assigned to a transit foot post near West First Street in the Brighton Beach section of Brooklyn was stabbed in the neck by a 58-year-old male suspect who was subsequently shot by the officer. The male suspect was later pronounced deceased at the scene. The police officer, who was assigned to Transit District 34 in Brooklyn, was standing on the elevated subway platform at the Ocean Parkway station on the Q line when he heard a commotion coming from the street level. When he descended to the street, the police officer encountered a 58-year-old white male who had just assaulted a 78-year-old white female. While attempting to apprehend the male suspect, the officer was assaulted with an 11-inch hunting knife, and I believe we have photos of that knife that were made available to you, sustaining a wound to the neck. The officer fired 2 rounds, striking the suspect in the torso. The injured police officer was transported to Lutheran Medical Center, where we are now, where he is currently being treated and is listed in stable condition. The mayor and I just visited him and his family upstairs. The male suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. His identity is being withheld pending family notification. The knife was recovered at the scene. The preliminary investigation reveals that the suspect had been involved in an earlier altercation in a nearby store and assaulted the female after she attempted to intervene. The details of this police encounter are still being investigated. All that I'm relating to you is preliminary at this time. It appears at this time that there was no known connection between the deceased suspect and the 78-year-old female victim. Police officer Filippo Gugliara was appointed to the department in January of 2013. He is 24 years old and is not married, a very active police officer. Members of his family are here at the hospital with him. We met with them upstairs. The mayor and I had a very good conversation with the officer, awake, alert, and again, we're very pleased that he is in such good condition. I want to thank the staff here at the New York University Lutheran Medical Center for their outstanding care of our officer. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I just want to say it was a tremendous honor to meet Officer Filippo Gugliara. He was brave. He pursued this perp, followed his training, did the right thing, went toward the danger. It was so good to see him, thank God, in great shape upstairs. This is an example to the city of the kind of men and women who join the NYPD, who are ready to serve, who are ready to walk into harm's way to make sure their fellow New Yorkers are safe. He heard the cries of an elderly woman. He went to the scene. He confronted the perpetrator, and thank God the officer came out okay. He is a great guy. We had a great conversation with him and his family. His father, Joe, and his sister, Dina, were upstairs with us. We had a great conversation. Born and bred Brooklynite. We got into a conversation about his Little League baseball career, and he actually played baseball in a lot of the same fields that my son Dante did. And we had a great conversation. And a guy who had just went through such a tough experience, he was positive, he was proud of what he had done, and we told him how proud we were of him. So I want to thank everyone here at Lutheran. I want to echo the Commissioner's point that folks here at this hospital did a great job, and thank God the officer is well, and he is an example to us all. Thank you.
Any on-topic questions?
Commissioner, the suspect's criminal history, I'm not saying his name.
Bob, are you in a position to give that? Chief of Detectives, Bob Boyce. Well known to all of you, a rising star in the department, and in SAG.
I'll try to hold through. Right now, he has one prior arrest, and that has been sealed. That's an aggravated harassment, but it's been sealed, and it's the complainant wanted to go no further than that. So he doesn't have much of a criminal history at all.
Could you go back to the incident between the man and the woman in the store, and then what, it ends up on the street again?
That's being vetted right now. Apparently, it was a store owner he had an incident with. That 78-year-old woman interceded in that, and we believe that was the nexus for the assault on that lady.
It's my understanding the incident happened just a few blocks away from Coney Island Hospital. Why was the officer taken here?
That was the choice of EMS. You'd have to ask them, but this is a trauma center. I think we have one of the doctors here. You can ask them that question.
Maybe this is what you mean by vetting. In other words, it happens in the store, and then you're not clear on how it ends up back.
That's
home.
right. We have the 78-year-old lady. We're speaking to her, we're seeking that merchant right now.
Was the 78-year-old injured at all?
Yes, she was. She was taken to the ground by the perpetrator, and she was on the ground, and she has several bruises right now.
Perhaps for Chief Fox or the other chief, could you describe what the transit officer was doing on the platform?
He was part of, ironically, an initiative that I created back in 1990 when I was chief of transit police. But I'll ask Chief Fox to describe the circumstances of that assignment and what he is there specifically for.
An important part of safety in our subway system is helping our young people get to and from school safely. As you know, as you would expect, it's large crowds, and so we call that safe passage, where we have officers specifically dedicated to these platform stations and train lines to make that work well and keep them safe and keep the system running well.
This is a photo of the knife that was recovered at the scene. The initial photographs taken of the deceased suspect, the knife was within a few inches of his hands. The protocol is that it was moved several feet away, first reviving officers. But as you can see, our officer is very fortunate. One of the treating physicians here at the hospital opined that he believed that the officer probably was saved by the fact that the knife seemed to have initially struck the officer's shoulder strap of his vest, and that deflected the knife versus, as you can see, that had penetrated the officer's neck. It would be a very different story that we'd be telling with you here this afternoon.
But it did cut the skin.
It did, and that's why he's being treated, and he'll be held overnight here at the hospital.
Can you share how difficult it is for someone to be stabbed in the neck and then still be able to fire the gun? Can somebody address that?
We have I don't know how you can address that it happened, that in our investigation will continue. But again, by all accounts, our initial review that the officer performed admirably, had the occasion to listen to the radio transmissions. He was giving very good radio transmissions to get officers, get assistance to him. And he faced quite clearly a life-threatening situation with this individual. And it's only conjecture, but for his intercession in the assault on the 78-year-old woman, the suspect armed with this knife, that we really don't know what might have occurred there, but for the interruption of that assault by the officer.
What was the extent of the treatment? Were there stitches? What did doctors do for him?
Doctor, he's asking what treatment he received here and the extent of the injuries.
Come on up.
He's up the mic, sir. Thank you.
The officer received a few stitches. He underwent some testing to make sure that there were no more major injuries, which there was none. And that was the extent of his treatment at this point.
Was this more of a slash or a stab? Was this a deep wound?
It wasn't that deep.
Thank you.
Just for clarification purposes, the shop owner and the 78-year-old woman had gotten into some sort of altercation and somehow ended up outside.
That's not what happened, no.
Oh, okay.
No. She intervened in the argument between the shop owner and this individual, the 58-year-old male. She intervened to help. That's what happened.
So the suspect got into an argument with the shop owner and the woman tried to intervene. Somehow this argument ended up outside with the suspect and the woman arguing, and that's when the
That's correct. That's preliminary in our investigation. We have her. We do not have the shop owner yet.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.